Hi everyone, thank you for joining me today. I'm excited to create this video. I get a lot of questions about how to stay motivated on a plant-based diet. I have been vegan and raw vegan because I did both around the same time for over 6 years now. And the journey just keeps getting better and better. I have the privilege of working with clients and patients who are trying to transition to eating more plant foods, healthy foods in their diet. So I do this work a lot. I wanted to share with you in this video 5 of my top tips for staying motivated when you are eating a plant-based diet or would like to, and/or a raw vegan diet. Number 1 is to know your why and to celebrate your progress. So I talk about knowing your why a lot. People talk about that a lot in this journey. I think it's so important. Why are you doing this in the first place? And I'll give you a specific example for myself. So one thing was that I had a lot of issues with depression. I also had a disordered eating behavior, and when I switched to a plant-based and then even more so a raw plant-based diet, this was a huge part of my healing for these issues. Monitoring and celebrating your progress is also so important. So a couple weeks ago I did a long run, and last year this long run was pretty challenging for me. And there were a couple of times where I'd had to stop and walk the hills because it's a very hilly run. And this year I did the entire run without having to stop at all, and it felt noticeably easier. And that just feels really good because I know a huge part of that is the way I eat. To monitor and see my progress year after year, that it just keeps getting better in terms of my fitness and in my endurance because of the way I eat is wonderful and so affirmative. So I really encourage you to not just know your why, but as you progress in the journey, really monitor and celebrate your progress. That will help you stay motivated on the path. My second tip on this is to educate yourself. When I made the transition to a plant-based diet, and I have my story, my raw vegan story on this channel, and so you can check that out. I'll put a link to that in the description below. When I made the transition, I was hungry for knowledge. Like many other doctors, I didn't get a lot of nutrition training in medical school. I was lucky to work as a Doctors Without Borders physician in West Africa, and so I got some nutrition education through that. And then when I came back to New York City, where I was living, I did a ton of nutrition education. And the data was clear. A plant-based diet was so helpful for so many medical issues. So educating myself has been so important. I continue to educate myself every time a journal article comes out on literature on plant-based research. And I have the opportunity and the privilege to educate others on the literature coming out. 3 things that I saw on video that were huge for me during the time of my transition were Cowspiracy, which discusses the environmental impacts of eating animal products and how a plant-based diet can make a huge difference. Also Forks Over Knives. And the third should have been Earthlings, but I couldn't get through Earthlings. Earthlings is incredible and talks about factory farming and just the suffering these animals have to go through to get to our plates if we're eating animal products. I couldn't get through it. I didn't watch it. What I did watch is the third thing I want to recommend, which is Gary Yourofsky's speech on veganism. I highly recommend it. But those are 4 videos that you can watch. They're very easy to access online. I will put a link in the description below to a few websites that I think are very well researched, that are backed by medical evidence and scientific evidence, that I think really give some great resources to educate yourself on plant-based living. A book that I read also around the same time of my transition when I made the switch, and that I recently reread that just got me fired up again, was a book called Eating Animals by Jonathan Safran Foer. And a lot of people might know him as the author of Everything is Illuminated. But this book is a memoir, really, and It's really powerful, and he backs it up by a lot of facts and by his own personal experience. He started researching this when he became a father for the first time. I highly recommend this book. So those are a few resources. As you educate, the motivation will become stronger and stronger for sticking with the diet and sticking with the lifestyle. The third tip I have is to find community. This is so huge. I made the switch around 2010, early 2011. And in 2011, I went to the very first Woodstock Fruit Festival, and it was completely life-changing for me. In 2013, I actually gave a couple of lectures at Woodstock Fruit Festival. Just finding events in which there are like-minded people going through similar things, and finding people in those events who've been doing this for a long time, who have healed disease from this way of eating, can be powerfully motivating. I went to medical conferences in which I met Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn, Dr. Michael Greger, Dr. Dean Ornish, all of whom were presenting medical literature on how a plant-based diet and a plant-based lifestyle was helpful for reversing a lot of common diseases. So it's powerfully motivating to find community. You can also find community online. There's this channel, and there are many other channels that promote a plant-based lifestyle and that talk about the benefits of plant-based living. So find community, whether online or going to events. Brief aside, the Fruit Winter Festival in Chiang Mai, Thailand has been one that I've been attending now for 3+ years, I believe, and it's amazing. It was created by my friend Connor McMillan, and it's now co-run by him and Brittany Taylor, and I will be again presenting, doing some dance, holistic medical talks, and teaching some yoga classes at the Fruit Winter Festival 2018. So that's another event. Please come and attend it if you can. It'd be lovely to meet you, and it's really awesome to do events and to meet people in this way. My fourth tip is huge, so huge, and that is to get creative with recipes. I super love creating delicious recipes that are plant-based, for me, raw plant-based. It's so much fun to go to markets, to go to restaurants, to attend events and see recipes that may not be plant-based, and then think about how to make it plant-based. I think it's so much fun to do this. And you can make really delicious alternatives. They might be even better, and are often better than the original. And oftentimes you feel better than the original, which is why I have recipes on this channel, so please check that out. I recently saw somebody, a lovely lady, who ate my raw falafel last summer, and she told me it was the best falafel she's ever had, cooked or raw. So I just say that to say that it's so possible to create delicious, super delicious, plant-based, and if you want, raw plant-based alternatives to non-vegan dishes. My fifth tip I would like to give for staying motivated on this lifestyle is one that I don't hear talked about enough, which is to trust that it's possible. If it is your intention to live a plant-based lifestyle for the planet, for your health, for other sentient beings, and or to be raw vegan, the universe will back you up. And I am living proof of that. I travel to wonderful tropical places that definitely I can find fruit easily, but I also travel to other places where it may not be so easy, but always I find what I need. And I think there's something really beautiful about exercising your spiritual muscle in this way, of exercising trust. And when you do, this has been my experience and the experience of many others, when you practice trust, I think you get rewarded so greatly. And I have found that I'm never starving wherever I am, and I can always find a wonderful alternative and a wonderful plant-based, and for me, a raw plant-based meal to eat. So I encourage you to do this. So I hope you found this video really useful and helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Liking the video does a lot to help support the channel. Subscribe for weekly videos, and definitely share it with anybody you think might benefit, who maybe is wanting to transition this lifestyle or is curious about this lifestyle, a plant-based lifestyle or a raw vegan lifestyle. We are in the Canary Islands right now and it's so beautiful. So I just want to send you so much love from here. Take care.